you can draw this in Procreate. During this fun and easy Procreate tutorial, we are going to create a colorful UFO, aka also known as an unbelievably flotastic object. You will learn tons about the basic features in Procreate during this tutorial, like using the Symmetry tool, making use of layer clipping mask and alpha lock, and adding lighting effects to your illustration by making use of the bloom feature. I'm sure you will feel proud once you have reached the end of this tutorial and you will have your own amazing result, so be sure to share it, just like these amazing friends at Patreon did. Patreon is the place to go if you are serious about training your Procreate skills, getting to the next level, because there I have more than 150 Procreate tutorials, and they range from beginner levels to more advanced levels, like this fun tutorial I have recently shared. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Now for this tutorial, we're working on a canvas that is 2500 pixels by 2500 pixels. The color profile is set to sRGB, and I have linked the color palette in the description. So if you're ready, buckle up, grab your pencil, and let's get started. We'll start off by using the monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy. And for our color, let's grab this one over here, third color in the second row. Now the opacity of this brush should be at 100%, and I'd like to set the size at 30%. And at first we'll make a curve for the underside of our UFO. So make a curved line from left to right like this. Hold your pen in place to make a nice smooth curve. And you can tap one finger on the screen to make sure that it's nice and like horizontal. Like this is nicely aligned. Then we'll make the top part. So let's start here and then make a curved line to the other side. Then again, tap your finger on the screen. You can also tap arc here at the top, and then you can make it align with the other half oval or curved line. And you can move these anchor points until you get a shape like this. Then you can drag in this colored circle to fill your shape. And then I'd like to make sure that this shape is in the exact center of our canvas. We can do that by going to the Move and Transform tool. That's the little arrow here. Then here at the bottom, go to Snapping and turn on Snapping. Now we can move this around like this and then place it where you see, well, where you get to see that vertical orange line. So about here, and then tap the arrow again. Then we'll make a new layer. We'll go to the layer menu, the two little squares, and tap the plus. Then we'll grab a different color. We'll grab this darker blue, fourth color in the second row. Then draw an oval. Hold your pen in place so you get the quick shape tool. And then here at the top, you can go to Edit and use these handles. I want it to just stick out a little bit at the top, not too much. And maybe we can go for something like this. Then we can drag in the color. And to make sure that it's centered, we can go to the Move and Transform tool again. Move this around, but I see that it's already nicely centered. Then let's make a new layer again. Let's go to the layer menu, the two little squares, tap the plus. Then we'll go to the next color. We'll use this one over here, fourth color, that nice pink, fourth color in the first row. And let's make another oval. This one is a little bit smaller. Hold your pen in place. Then go to Edit. And I want it to look a bit like this. Then let's drag in the color and make another layer. Let's tap the plus, and then let's switch to the light blue again, third color in the second row. And again, make an oval. This one is sticking out a bit at the top. Hold your pen in place, then go to Edit. And this one has a bit of a bump at the top. Maybe even a bit more. I think this looks nice. Let's drag in the color, and then we'll make another one on top. Let's tap the plus. Then grab the darker blue again, fourth color in the second row, and you can guess it, we'll make another oval right here. Hold your pen in place, go to Edit, And I want it to stick out again a little bit at the top. I think this looks good. Let's drag in the color. Then for the little dome on top of our UFO, we'll make another layer. So tap the plus. And now for the color, we'll grab the second color in the second row. And then let's make a circle here. Hold your pen in place. You can tap one finger on the screen to make it nice and round. Then let's drag in the color and go to the move and transform tool, the little arrow, to make sure that it's centered. And make it align a bit with that dark blue circle or oval so that you get a curve like this here. Don't worry about the bottom part. I want it to look a bit like this. And then let's tap the arrow again first. I want the bottom part to be a bit more flat. I want to push that upward, but I want it to stay symmetrical. And to do that, we'll go to the wrench, then to canvas, then turn on drawing guide, then tap edit drawing guide. And then here at the bottom, you will find symmetry. Let's tap that. We have that nice line through the center. And whatever we draw or do on the left side, it will also happen on the right side and vice versa. Now let's tap done. And now when you go to your layer, you'll see assisted under the layer name. That means that that symmetry tool, that grid is active on this layer. Now we'll go to the magic wand and then to liquefy. Make sure you set it to push. I have the pressure set to max and distortion and momentum both set to none. And my size is at 54% right now. And now we can just push right underneath and make that a bit more flat. And follow that curve of that dark blue ring a little bit. Maybe we can push it down a little bit here, make it a little bit smaller. So just gently push. I think it looks nice like this. So now let's continue and make another layer on top. Let's tap the plus. And then for the color, we'll grab that blue again, third color in the second row. And I'll make a tiny little oval right here on top. Hold your pen in place, then go to ellipser at the top. And place that in the center, about here. You can drag in the color, and of course you can go to the move and transform tool, make sure that it's centered. Can be a little bit tricky sometimes. Let's just zoom in until we see that orange line. And then let's go back to the layer menu and make a new layer on top of this one. We'll tap the plus, and then let's grab the pink. Fourth color in the first row. We'll make another oval right on top here. Hold your pen in place, then go to edit. And we'll make this one a tiny bit smaller than the other one. So something like this. Then you can go to the arrow again, the move and transform tool, make sure that it's in the center, that you see that orange line, and then drag in the color. Now I want to make some sort of antenna on top. And we are going to make use of the symmetry tool again. First, let's make a new layer. Let's tap the plus. And to make use of that symmetry tool here, we can tap the layer and turn on drawing assist. Now you see assisted underneath this layer name as well. And for the color, we'll grab this one, third color, second row. And then let's start here, make a line upward. You can hold your pen in place for a perfectly straight line. And of course, you can also go to edit here at the top. If you want to change it a bit, you can go lower, higher. We'll go for something like this. Then tap the brush again to get back. And let's make the brush a little bit smaller. Let's set it to 10% so we have a little bit more precision. And then we can attach these two. You can hold your pen in place for a nice curve and attach these two. And then drag in the color. Let's zoom out to check it out. I feel like maybe we could make it a little bit thinner. We can go to the move and transform tool, then set it to freeform, and then push one side to make it a little bit thinner. And then place it in the center again. and then tap the arrow. Then we are going to place a circle on top. Let's make a new layer to do that. Let's tap the plus and then grab the pink, fourth color in the first row. Let's draw a circle here. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle. You can go to circle here or edit at the top, move it around, and then drag in the color. Now we are going to move to the bottom of our UFO. I want an edge right here underneath, and to create that, we'll go to layer 1 here and duplicate that. You can do that by sliding to the left, then tapping duplicate. Then go to the bottom one, and we are going to fill this one with a different color. Let's grab that darker blue, fourth color in the second row, and drag it onto the shape. Now you won't see anything happening, but when you go to your layer menu, you see that the bottom one is now a dark blue. Next, we'll tap this layer and turn on drawing assist so that symmetry is turned on here. And then we'll go back to that liquify tool. We'll go to the magic wand, then to liquify. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger, perhaps 80%. Let's check that out. And now we can pull this lower part downward a little bit. Also do that on the sides. Make sure that this is still attached to that upper part here, to that corner, so that it's nice and tidy. Let's go for something like this. Next, we'll make another layer underneath this one. First, we need to tap the plus to create a new layer, and then you can drag it underneath by tapping and holding it, and then dragging it here. Then for the color, let's grab this one, second color in the second row, and we'll make an oval again. You can't see the entire oval since it's partly behind our UFO here. Let's tap edit at the top and make sure that it's in the center. Let's go upward a little bit. You can just see a tiny part of this area. Then let's drag in the color. Let's make sure that it's in the center by going to the move and transform tool, moving it around until you see that vertical orange line. And then let's make another shape underneath this one. So we'll tap the plus and drag it underneath. And then we'll grab the light blue, third color in the second row. And let's make another oval. Hold your pen in place. Then go to ellipse or edit at the top. And place it about here. Then drag in the color. Then we'll make sure that it's centered by going to the move and transform tool. Let's zoom in a little bit for some more precision. We need the orange line, so that's here. Then we'll go back to the layer, tap it, and turn on drawing assist so we can keep it symmetrical and add a little part to the side here. Close that shape, then you can drag in the color and then just pinch like this to zoom out. Next, I want to add a little bit more color to that lower ring. Let's go to that layer, that's layer 1 over here. We are going to add a layer on top by tapping the plus, and then we'll tap this new layer and set it to clipping mask. Now, whatever we draw here, it'll only show up on that shape. For our color, we'll grab the fourth color in the first row. And I want to add some pink to this left side. Let's make a line like this, then loop around like this to close the shape, and then drag in the color. And let's do the same over here. Let's make a line like this. Then let's go here, then loop around to close it, and then drag in the color. Now I want this pink to be in this area as well, that front area, that lower part of the UFO. So let's add it there as well. We can actually merge these two layers now because I'm happy with the pink. You can pinch these together. Then go to this one, tap the plus, and again, use layer clipping mask. And then make sure that it attaches to this pink area, but that you move down here. And you can just color this in. And then go to the other part. And color that in as well. I actually want this area to match with this light blue area. So we can actually make this light blue. We can go to this layer, select it, then grab that blue third color in the second row and drag in the color. Now, if you like, you can also add some color variety to the other sections, of course, but I'm going to stick with this. So now let's merge a few layers. First of all, we can merge these two. We can also merge these two bottom layers, and we can merge these. Layer 1 here, not this layer 1, so this part, this area, all the way to here. We'll leave this little dome on a separate layer, but we can pinch these together. And let's also pinch these two together. That's the pink and blue oval there. So that will save us some layer space. What I'd like to do next is add some line art to this piece. But before we do that, let's get rid of that vertical line for now. Let's go to the wrench, then canvas, and then turn off the drawing guide. And then let's get started with our lines. We are going to make them on a layer on top of all the others. So let's go to layer 10 here, then tap the plus. For our color, we are going to use this dark one over here, first color in the first row. And for the brush, we will go to the inking brushes and use the studio pen. Now the opacity of this brush should be at 100%. We don't want transparent lines. And for the size, let's set that to 10%. Now with this brush, the harder you press, the thicker your line will become. And if you press lightly, it'll be thin. At least that is if you have a pen like the Apple Pencil that has pressure sensitivity. And this part might be a little bit challenging, but you have the undo function, so you can simply undo and redo when you're not happy with a line. Now we do have a little issue here that we can't see the transition between that top area and the bottom area. Now to help ourselves out, we can go to this bottom layer and simply lower the opacity for now. We can tap the N, slide to the left, and let's go for, let's say 65% or even lower, just so you can see the difference. Well, you can see the different areas there. Now let's go back to our new layer and start inking. You can rotate your canvas whenever you like. And we are just going to add our lines. We can make this lower part a little bit thicker. Go all the way to the right, or left actually, or top in this case. And then the other line. Then we have this engine part. This part. So first just add lines to all of these sections like this. And as you can see, I have added a bit more line weight, a bit more thickness to some of the lower lines to add some interest to the illustration. And now that we have this, we can turn up the opacity of this layer here again. So we can tap the N, slide to 100% to max. And then let's continue on our line art layer and add some more interest. We're going to add some more elements. Let's add some lines, some sections to our UFO. We're going to divide some of these parts, add some little lines, maybe a little circle or a little square. Line over here and sections on this blue part. Some here in the front, maybe a line here. Just in some random places. Here. Perhaps it'll continue here and over here. Add some lines in this section. Perhaps another circle and a little corner here. This is really going to make our UFO look more interesting. One over here, perhaps here, maybe another one here, here, and here at the bottom for our little engine part. All right, now that we have this, now that we have our line art, let's add some shading to this piece. So first, let's go to this layer over here, which has that base shape of our UFO. Let's tap the plus for a new layer. Set that layer to clipping mask so that whatever we draw, it'll only show up on our UFO. Then we'll tap the N here and change the layer blending mode. We'll scroll down to screen, which is great for highlights, and that's what we are going to create here. But let's lower the opacity a bit to make it more subtle. We'll set it to 80%. And then for our color, we'll grab white, which I have added here in the color palette, 5th color in the 2nd row. And we are going to focus our light on the left side. So let's add the most highlights there. And let's start here, for instance, and add some edges, some light edges in this area. And you can see that the color changes a bit depending on the area where you use it. So here it's becoming a very light blue, but in the pink areas, it's becoming a very light pink. So we'll just go along the edges of all these sections. And this is not like a realistic lighting. This is mostly to add interest to this piece. So you don't have to give it too much thought. Just try to be a little bit consistent on the edges where you add it. So for instance, I'm staying on the right side of these black lines, these dark lines. Over here as well. I'll add more highlights to the bottom part. We'll go along this entire edge to about here. Because like I said, I want to focus the most of the lights on the left side. And we can add more here. And then we'll add a few on this side. Perhaps over here. Because there's light everywhere. This UFO is in between a lot of stars. Light here. Some on this light blue ring. And on this darker blue ring. Along that green dome. Maybe that's a bit too thick. Let's try again. Yeah, I think that's nice. Now let's do the same for that lower area over here. Or you know what we can actually do at this point, we can merge these. We can just pinch them together and continue on this layer with the highlights. Now all of these sections are together, and we can continue here and add highlights for this lower part as well. Nice little edge here and over here as well. And along these edges. Then for our dome, I'd like to add some color variation here first. Let's make a new layer on top of this one. Let's tap the plus, then set this new layer to clipping mask. And then for our color, let's grab this one first, the third color in the second row. And we'll add a little bit of blue here. And let's make a shape over here. Make it a little bit pointy. Something like this. Loop around to close it, drag in the color. And of course you can adjust it a little bit. And you can do that by painting more, or you can tap and hold the eraser to make it switch to that studio pen. And then you can carve it a little bit. And make it more pointy here, for instance. And you can switch back and forth between the brush and the eraser. So let's go for something like this. Then I'd like to switch to the pink, fourth color in the first row. And then let's add some pink on this side. Just color it in until you have something like this. Then for the highlights here, first let's pinch these two together. Then let's tap the plus for a new layer on top, set that to clipping mask, and then we'll tap the N again and scroll down to screen and lower the opacity to 80%. Then we'll switch our color back to white, fifth color in the second row. Let's zoom in a little bit, add a highlight on this side and on this side as well, since our stars are all around. And let's add some nice highlights here. Like these rounded blobby shapes. All right, then for the antenna, let's actually pinch these two together, but leave this one on a separate layer. So pinch these, then tap the plus for a new layer, set that to clipping mask, then tap the N, scroll down to screen, and then lower the opacity to 80%. Then let's add a little highlight here on this edge and on this side as well. And then a highlight along this edge. Maybe some lines like this. All right, then for some shadow. To add some shadow effects, we'll make a layer in between this light layer and our base layer of our UFO. So we'll tap the plus here. It'll automatically get clipped. Then we'll tap the N and scroll up to multiply, which is a great layer blending mode for adding shadows. And you can experiment with different colors from the color palette. We can grab the pink, for instance, fourth color in the first row. And we can add some shadow here in the front. And then we can go up here. Now for the pink area, I feel that the shadow is a bit too reddish. So we are going to switch colors there. But for the blue areas, this is a nice effect. Let's add a shadow here. You can just drag in the color and add a shadow edge underneath here. Maybe a little bit here as well. And on our engine, Let's see what happens on the green. That's okay. We'll go for something like this. Then for the pink areas, let's try out the blue. Let's grab this one, 4th color in the 2nd row. Let's see what that looks like. That's a bit dark. So we can try the lighter blue, 3rd color in the 2nd row. I think that's a bit better. We'll just color in this pink area here, drag in the color at this area as well. And some edges here. And maybe this edge. And now, of course, if you feel like this is a little bit too much, then you can just go to the layer menu, tap the M, and lower the opacity a bit. Let's go for 70%. And then we are going to do something similar for the other areas. First, let's go to our dome. Let's tap the plus, then let's tap the N and scroll up to multiply. And then first, let's grab the soft brush. We'll go to airbrushing, grab the soft brush here. The opacity of this brush is at 60% and I have the size at 5%. And now let's go along this right area and add a bit of shadow there. Then let's switch back to that inking brush. No, not the ink. Where is it? The inking brush, yeah. Studio Pen. Under inking. I'm not sure why another brush was selected, but Studio Pen under inking. And then let's make a more crisp shadow edge right underneath here. But we can go a little bit darker perhaps with the darker blue, 4th color in the 2nd row. And let's make a darker shadow like this. Then for the top area, we'll do the same. We'll go to layer 7 here, tap the plus, tap the N to scroll up to multiply. Then first, let's grab that light blue, 3rd color in the 2nd row, and add a little shadow here. And on this edge. And then let's go darker with the 4th color in the 2nd row. Make an even darker shadow right next to it. And now we can lower the opacity a bit. Feel like it's a bit too dark. Let's tab the M, slide to the left, and let's set it to 70% again. All right, you're doing great so far. Now let's work on the scene and add more detail. First, I'd like to rotate our UFO a bit. To do that, we are going to select all the layers. But you know what? Actually, when you're happy with your UFO, you can merge the layers from this one to the bottom one. Just leave this pink circle on a separate layer and the line art. Let's pinch all of these together. Then select all 3 of them by sliding to the right. Then we'll go to the Move and Transform tool. I have my interpolation set to bilinear. And I'll turn on uniform just to be sure if we need to make it a bit smaller, then it'll stick with the same ratio. Now let's use this green handle to rotate it a bit. And I do feel like we could make it a little bit smaller perhaps, so we can use one of these handles. Maybe even a bit smaller, something like this. And then tap the arrow again. Then let's make our background. Let's tap this layer first and tap the plus, and then tap and hold this and drag it underneath. And then for the color, grab this one over here, the 2nd color in the 1st row. Then for the brush, let's first grab the monoline brush under calligraphy so we can make a nice circle for our background. So draw a circle. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle, and go for something like this. Then drag in the color, and then I want to remove a little part at the bottom. Let's go to the selection tool, the S-shaped ribbon, I have it set to freehand. Make sure that color fill is turned off. And let's just select a part of the bottom here. Close the selection. And then you can swipe with 3 fingers to erase that area. Now I'd like to go back to the inking brushes and use the studio pen again. And I'd like to add some extra wobbles. Some extra shapes. Just something like this. Make sure that it's nicely attached to the other shape and drag in the color. So it looks a bit more playful now. Now let's add some extra shapes. Let's grab the monoline brush for that again. We can add some circles. Hold your pen in place and tap your finger on the screen for perfectly round circles. And give them various sizes. Bigger one over here. Some circles here. And then to fill all of these, you can drag in the color, then tap continue filling, and then tap all these circles to fill them. And then tap this little check mark. I'd like to add a gradient to this background. To do that, we are going to use Alpha Lock. We'll tap this layer, turn on Alpha Lock, and now we won't be able to go outside of the shape. For our brush, we'll go to the airbrushing brushes again and grab the soft brush. And for the color, we'll grab the first one in the first row. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger. Let's go for 20%. And first go over this top area to make that darker. Make multiple horizontal strokes. And then for the bottom part, we'll grab this color, third color in the first row. And then let's go over the bottom area. Using light pressure, adding multiple strokes, slowly building up that gradient. And if you want to soften the gradient even more, then you can go to the magic wand, then to Gaussian blur, and when you slide to the right on your screen with your pen, you can soften your gradient. I won't go too far, I'll go for 15%. And then tap the magic wand again. Next, we are going to add some lighting effects. Let's start with our little pink circle here. We'll go to this layer, then we'll go to the magic wand, and then to bloom. Then slide to the right on your screen with your pen. And here at the bottom, you can turn up the burn like this. And you can change the size. You can play with these features until you have something that you like. I have the bloom set to 84% right now, size at 27, and the burn at 90. Now you can tap the magic wand again. Now let's add some more shiny features to our UFO. Let's make a new layer. Let's tap the plus. And first, let's grab this yellow color. First color in the second row. And for the brush, we need the monoline brush again. And we are going to add some circles here. Make a circle, hold your pen on the screen and your finger to make a perfectly round circle. And just place a few of these circles. And of course, you can go to edit or circle at the top, move them around, grab the brush again, add another one here, and one over here. Then let's fill these shapes by dragging in the color and using continue filling. And tap the check mark. And then we'll use the same technique as we did with the pink circle. We'll go to the magic wand and to bloom, slide to the right to turn on these lights. And you can play with the burn to make them shine even brighter. I think something like this looks nice. The bloom is at 81%, size at 28, and the burn at 54. And then let's add even more. Let's go back to the layer menu, tap the plus. Then for the color, I'll grab the pink, fourth color in the first row, and let's make an oval over here. Let's go for something like this, drag in the color. Then on a new layer, we'll go to the layer menu, tap the plus, we'll make even more ovals, but with different colors. We'll grab the green, second color in the second row, and make one over here. Of course, you can use edit, move it around until you're happy with the placement. Drag in the color. Let's make another one here. Let's use edit, drag in the color, and then I'll make another layer for some blue lights. Let's tap the plus. I'm putting these on separate layers because the bloom effect will be different for each color. So I'd like to add bloom separately for each of the colors. Now let's grab blue, this one, third color in the second row. And let's add one here. Use ellipse or edit. Change it a bit, drag in the color, and then add another one here. Use ellipse or edit, and drag in the color. All right, now we can turn on the lights. Let's go to the magic wand, use bloom, slide to the right, and we can make it more intense by turning up the burn. Let's lower the size a little bit. Play around with these settings. I think this looks nice. Bloom of 95%, size at 26, and a burn at 85. Then we'll move to the green lights. Layer 7, go to the magic wand, then to bloom, slide to the right, turn up the burn, maybe lower the size a bit. I think this looks good. Bloom at 62%. Size at 22 and burn at 67. And then we'll move to the pink light. Layer 6, go to the magic wand, then to bloom. Turn up the bloom by sliding to the right. Turn up the burn. Maybe lower the size a bit. I think this looks nice. Bloom at 92%, size at 27, and burn at 81. And then tap the magic wand again. And then when you're happy, you can actually merge all the layers of our UFO. We're almost there. Let's tap the plus and drag this new layer underneath our UFO. And then for our color, we'll grab the pink, fourth color in the first row. And for the brush, well, we can stick with the monoline brush. And let's make some shapes over here, some oval shapes like this. Make sure they are closed. Then drag in the color. Use continue filling. And now we are going to stretch this part. We'll go to the magic wand and then to liquefy. And then you can just use push like this to stretch it and keep control. We're going to stretch it a bit beyond our background. Make sure that it stays inside the edges of that engine. I think this looks good. Now we're going to add a gradient to this. So we'll tap that layer, turn on alpha lock. Then we'll go back to the soft brush under airbrushing. And for the color, we'll grab this one, fifth color in the first row. And then we'll go over this lower area a bit with some rounded motions, very gently. Add a bit of purple there. Then we'll make another shape on top. Let's tap the plus and then grab the white, fifth color in the second row. And let's actually grab the inking brush again, the studio pen, and make some more shapes. And then make some more ovals. Give them different sizes. Then drag in the color, use continue filling, and then we are going to stretch these as well. So we'll go to the magic wand, then to liquefy, and then stretch this out. You can make the brush a little bit smaller, let's say around 50% if you need a bit more control over some smaller areas. I think this looks good. Then let's go back to the brush and just add some of these lines. Just add this for some extra effect. Now the only thing we need to spice up is our background. And we are going to do that by adding some stars. Let's make a new layer on top of our background layer by tapping the plus. And on this new layer, we are going to create a circle with pink, 4th color in the first row. For the brush, let's grab the model line brush again. And let's make a little circle over here. Hold your pen in place. Tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle and then drag in the color. Now to turn this into a star, we are going to use the Symmetry tool again. We'll go to the wrench, then to Canvas, then turn on the drawing guide, then go to Edit Drawing Guide. And here under Symmetry, under Options, we are going to set it to Quadrant. Then zoom in a little bit. And then use this handle and place it in the center or roughly in the center of your circle. Then tap Done, and then go to the layer and make sure to turn on Drawing Assist. So tap the layer, turn on Drawing Assist. And now we are going to use the Liquify tool again. We'll go to the magic wand, then to Liquify and make the brush nice and small. Let's see, maybe 20 or 21%. And let's push here. And we are going to use this to create a star shape, which is nice and symmetrical. Push to make this part very thin. You can stretch it a bit by pulling. So you should get something like this. You could also make this part a little bit longer if you like, to make it less symmetrical entirely. Now let's tap the magic wand to get out of here, and let's also turn off our symmetry line. So go to Canvas and turn off the drawing guide. And now let's duplicate this star. You can do that by sliding down with 3 fingers and then using duplicate. Now let's move this around, make it a bit smaller. You can also flip it, for instance, to change it slightly. And tap the arrow. Let's duplicate this again by sliding down, using duplicate. And make a smaller one here. And tap the arrow again. Slide down with 3 fingers again. Use duplicate. And let's move one over here. Then let's go back to our first star on this layer. And we are going to duplicate it again. You can also duplicate by sliding to the left and then tapping duplicate, of course. Then go to the Move and Transform tool and place this one over here. But I want to change the color of this one. I want to change it to yellow, so grab that yellow, first color in the second row, and drag it onto the star. Then we are going to make these stars shine. Let's drag this one underneath the other one so we can merge the pink stars together. Then we'll go to the magic wand again and to Bloom. And then let's slide to the right, turn up the burn, play around with the size. I think this looks nice. So the bloom is at 100%, the size at 33, and the burn at 82. And then let's do the same for a layer 5 here. Let's go to the magic wand, then to bloom, slide to the right, turn up the burn, play around with the size. Let's go for this. The bloom is at 53, size at 30, and the burn at 50. And then tap the magic wand again. Of course, we want some more stars. Let's first pinch these together, then make a new layer on top by tapping the plus. And then we'll go to the luminance brushes. They are standard Procreate brushes. We'll use the light pen. And for the color, let's first grab the blue. This one over here. Third color in the first row. The opacity is at 100% and the size is at 85. And now we're just going to add more stars by adding these circles. And the harder you press, the bigger that circle will become. So play around with that. Create a nice variety. So I just want a few of these blue ones. I also want some very light ones, so we'll grab the 5th color in the 2nd row, which is white, and add some more of these stars. Nicely fill up that sky. And like I said, the harder you press, the bigger your star will become. So try to vary that a bit. You can group a few together. Then let's also add some pink stars with the 4th color in the 1st row. Sometimes it's nice to double tap to make the star a little bit brighter. Then for a few yellow stars, let's grab the 1st color in the 2nd row. And we can also make a few falling stars, just creating these little lines. I think that's a nice addition. And there you have your unbelievably flotastic object. I hope you have enjoyed the process. I hope you have learned some new skills. If you want to continue learning, then I think you might like this tutorial next. And then I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for the next tutorial.